Welcome to Shays Insights. I'm so glad everyone is here. So, wow. Susan, the way the light is on your face, it's kind of a spooky look for it. It's kind of the Halloween.
Wait, I've been trying, I just dumped a whole drawer of staples on the floor of
Oh
different
my.
sizes, trying to get this light in the right place. And I didn't get in time to fix it. So I could turn on the overhead light
No, that's all
maybe.
right. No, I just wanted to let you know. It's just kind of a cool look for you. I like it. It's,
Yeah,
it's,
something about yin and yang or something.
yeah, it's a new look. We like it. That's good. So, anyway, Um, don't have a lot to share. It's been a busy day for me, but I want to talk a little bit about the soul group because there's definitely some changes that I've seen since the last month. Last month, I said there was three major, I think three or four, um, a fourth one forming. These are areas of focus for the soul group, probably mainly North America, but it also includes the world. And these can correspond to areas of concern like the economy or the you know, family, that kind of thing, things that we have shared interest in, all humankind does. And these are areas that are really a focus. And this time we now have five with a sixth one that's active. And then we have some that are obviously areas of that where people are concerned. They're darker ones, they're heavier energy. And obviously that's probably the economy, world situation, and that sort of thing. So some of the before, as in last month, these areas were more nebulous, let's say before last month. Last month they began to gel. They're actually still firming up. And what's going to happen is at some point when it crystallizes, that means the soul group has chosen a path or an area of focus or a direction in different areas that we all share. And then what will happen, the lagging indicator will be with the events that happen in the world. So once it crystallizes, at some point thereafter, it could be usually a week, could be a month, somewhere in there, there's no real time frame, that events start happening. So I wanted to let you know things are gelling, they're firming up, but it feels like things are happening, and the light is still coming in, but obviously the world is in a bit of a pressure cooker right now. So people are out there. So I'm seeing it with all this new formations of the new, I can say, areas of concern with it all, what that and focus of the soul group that always also correspond to areas of action. You know, when the economy is really good, all of a sudden you start seeing people go out and buying a bunch of stuff or something. But those are the kind of things. Or otherwise, you can see how people's attitudes and behaviors change as those things form and disappear. So hopefully the dark ones don't get bigger, but right now that's where things stand. So, and with that, I want to start. I'm going to start at the bottom this time of my screen. I always start at the top left and go left to right and down. This time, although it's everyone shows up on my screen in no particular order, I suppose, I'm going to start with Marci there. I think that's you. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, and loud and clear. So tell me what's happening. Anything you want to talk about? Any questions? Anything at all? To me or anyone in the future?
Well, let's see. I'm going over to Maui for 5 days tomorrow, and it'll be kind of a private retreat at the Ram Dass Sanctuary. So, yeah, and I'm thinking there will be some insights, clarity. Something will come from it. Is kind of a sense I have. I don't know. Like there's no agenda really. It's all just open, and it's a private thing. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know if you're seeing anything about that or not.
I agree with you, and I think it'll happen as actually a few different ways. One way, just being there and being in the energy, things will come to you because whenever we take a trip, we unplug from our environment, whether we intend to or not, and then we go to the place. That unplugging allows us to make new connections, and you're going to have some of that just being there. And I think also just in your conversations with different people there, as you're just talking about this, that, and the other thing, whatever the subject matter is, you're going to have some things come to you. It'll connect a few pieces like, ooh, that what that person said ties to this thing you've been thinking about, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a positive thing for you. It feels
Good.
that way. It feels that
Good.
feels kind of lighter and more uplifting, for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So it's
I think
kind of funny to go from being here where I'm pretty isolated just with nature, and then to go somewhere like Maui to, to be in a different environment. It's like going to the same but different. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
yes,
I
Maui has different energy too. Maui has a very unique energy I noticed when I was there years ago.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally does. It totally does. So, and that's, this whole thing where you're talking about going somewhere else. That's been the thing is, how could I possibly go somewhere that didn't have ocean where I could swim? This doesn't even make any sense.
Well,
But I guess that would,
I'm sorry.
what's that?
I said, you solved that problem. You're going to Maui.
Yeah. That's just a 5-day though, so we'll see what happens. But I had kind of a fun, cool thing today when I was just sitting, and I had a sense of like my heart expanding and turned into like a large golden heart,
Ooh.
and it just flowed, like the whole thing flowed like a lava eruption out of the heart, all golden, just golden, and it covered everything. It covered the earth, it covered the universe, it covered everything. And then from up above, it was like it rained down light, and it was white and blue and red and gold, and it rained down, and when it hit the lava, it sparked like a sparkler, and then all those sparks wove into a web like a lacy, really delicate pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And from that sprang all new giant trees, and it was like the whole thing was reborn again. And it was just so spontaneous, and it was really beautiful. I can't express it, but anyway, I share it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think, those kind of things when they happen to me, I don't know about you, but it sometimes takes me a little bit of time. I need a little distance in the rearview mirror because things come to me afterward more so than in the moment. I mean, it's a wonderful thing in the moment, but to get, kind of some insights on it, it takes me some time. I don't know if anyone here has any thoughts on that. Anyone have anything to share with that for Marci? Go ahead and just jump in. Okay. Well, is there anything else, Marci? That's exciting. I'm glad you're going to Maui. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it'll be something different.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Go ahead. You have anything else? Uh-oh.
That's it.
All right. Well, if we have more, we'll come around again. So if something comes to you,
Okay.
love to hear more. All right. Well, now I'm going to go to whoever has the 5982 number. I don't know who that is. Maybe I should, but I don't. Do you have anything to share or anything to ask or anything at all?
That would be me, Nicole.
Hello.
Oh, that's you.
Why are you on?
That's me.
Okay, so you have two different spots on the screen here.
Yeah, I know. I called in and then I put the TeamViewer or the
Okay.
Zoom app on, so it. I will have it figured out for next time.
Oh, wow. Well, you're being kind of sneaky there. I like it. So what's happening? Anything to share? What's going on with Nicole? Let's tell it. We all want to know.
Oh, just getting settled in out here. Enjoying the weather, the new people, the experience. It's been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I live in a really beautiful spot on top of a mountain, and
Mm.
you get in the mornings. I get to watch the fog down in the valley, and I'm up above it all, and it just looks like a lake of fog. It's just really neat.
Yeah,
Um,
it
Other than
flows.
that, it's been
Yeah.
yeah, it's really neat. Other than that, I've just been kind of hanging out and meeting new people and getting settled in.
Is anything happening yet? Anything? I mean, you're getting settled in. Is there any kind of feel like a direction or things beginning? You know, with the new job and that sort of thing. Just what's
Oh,
what's
I'm on
good?
the same job. I'm I'm doing the same job as I was before. Just doing it an hour earlier, so I get up and I'm at work at 6 a.m. now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Other than that, Kelly and I did decide we are going to get divorced. So now that's kind of a big change,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of necessary. Um, Beyond that, not terribly yet. I mean, it's just been a month, so it's just trying to get settled.
Yeah, but it feels like you're kind of, I don't know what the word is to describe it, but it feels like you're easing into it, kind of letting things just, kind of like it is after you've been working all day, you just relax for a little bit and you have to kind of relax before you can move on to the next thing. You got to kind of move, settle into it, that sort of thing.
Yep. Well, and that's exactly it. It's, I went from one situation to a new situation, and then it's just trying to let everything kind of, yeah, ease into it would be a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, gosh, it's great. Just glad you're here. And is there anything else you have to share? Any questions for anybody? Is anything at all?
No, I'm just, I may not be able to be here for the whole thing, but, and I'm going to be muted because I am a nanny for two very spoiled doodles. And the neighbor is going to be coming over for a little bit, so they may go absolutely berserk when he does. So that's why I'm totally muted, so I don't have too much background noise coming through.
Well, much appreciated, but it's great to see you. And if you do have something to
Mm.
share, please, we'll go
Yeah,
around again. We'll ask. Hopefully, if you're still here, we'll.
awesome,
All right. Okay.
perfect.
Next. Well, thank you so much. I'm so good to see you. Tonya, do you have anything to share? Anything to ask? Anything at all?
I kind of feel like I have a lot, so I'll try to be succinct and not take up, everybody's time. Um, I gotta say I'm in a really good mood and really good things have been happening lately.
Mm-hmm.
And just experiences like I never really thought I would have. A lot of new things are opening up, just a lot of positivity lately. And kind of reminds me, like you've told me this for kind of several months, like things were coming to happening, be patient. And I was kind of starting to get frustrated with it. Like you're not the only one who has said it, other people have said it too. And
Mm-hmm.
you get irritated or frustrated a little bit. And then, kind of going back to trusting the process. But, a couple things, I've been able to have like visions with people who I'm sitting with. Um, like there was one really cool experience where I was looking at the person, but it's like they were shifting into like a different form. And I think we kind of figured out it was most likely the grandfather figure for them. And that
Mm-hmm.
was just a really cool experience. But, more recently, I mean, so there's a person who I've known for, I don't know, probably at least a year or so, but have been able to get closer like this weekend. And I can only kind of describe it almost as like my soulmate, like meeting my soulmate and just like the transformation that or what this person has done for me and allowing me to like see things differently. Like I've just been so grateful for this weekend, especially. So
Mm-hmm.
things seem like they're totally shifted right now in a positive way.
Wow. Well, that is wonderful. It sounds like things are beginning. You're on the front edge of things beginning to happen that you've been, let's just say, patiently, but anxiously awaiting.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. And it feels like they are happening at the rate they need to happen. And I know as with most of us, we've talked about this many times. It always seems like it's slower than what we would really like, but it really does. And I know we've said it before, but it really does feel like that's the right thing for you for a number of reasons. Some you know, and some we don't, and some I don't know. I mean, they're not sharing it. I can see that their reasons are out there, but they're not letting me know what they are. So, but I do believe things will begin to gradually, you'll have more, and probably in different areas, happen. And they may look like they're different or separate, but they're really kind of all part and parcel of the same wave of things coming in for you.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to say like how grateful I am for this group too, and just express gratitude to everybody here and you, Jeff, and you know, things like this have been integral for the change. So I greatly appreciate everybody's input in the conversation. So I just want to express that gratitude also.
Well, I agree. This is such a wonderful opportunity. Even though if we talk about whatever we talk about, so much more happens, and we all know it because of the energies coming in. We're all channels for each other, and because all of us are on the committed spiritual path that we're on, call ourselves whatever we do, light workers, spiritual workers, whatever it is, however we think of ourselves. We become very powerful channels for each other. And so just by the virtue of our getting together for this short time that we are, it allows the seeds of energies and events to come in and start, incubating, if you will, to happen in our lives. So I agree. I'm grateful for all of you as well. So thank you. Is there anything else?
That's pretty much the gist of it. Just there's a lot going on, but that's the main part.
All right. And one thing your high self wants you to know, and especially just as of recently, there's another element, I think probably to this person you met or have known for a little while, and it's a good thing, just there's elements of that are happening that are outside your conscious awareness. And it's a good thing that it is, because it really allows for things to happen in a organic way that they may not happen if the conscious mind were involved, that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, now we're going to move on to Franny. Hello, Franny, are you there? Anything to share, anything to ask, or to me or anyone else? Just jump on in there if you're there. Are you there, Franny? Oh, there she is.
Hi, sorry about that.
Okay.
It's good to see everybody.
Hi, Franny.
Hi, it's great, great that we're all here together. What I say, the weather change was very, very shocking for my body, even though I knew it was coming, it's one thing to know it and another to feel it. And it's just now like today that I've been feeling that it's not that cold out anymore. The first little bit of time I was like, I'm freezing, when it was 25 or 29, I was like, oh, I don't like this, but I'm getting used to it. I took a wonderful trip to see my nephew and his wife and the kids in Tennessee, and that just went so well. And I'm so grateful that I didn't try to go at Christmas time with all the chaos surrounding getting presents and getting there at a certain time and blah, blah, blah. This was much more relaxed, and I got to go trick-or-treating with the kids. It was like 75 degrees out.
Wow, trick-or-treating in 75, that's much better than Montana here. Yes.
Yeah. So it was just lovely. And I feel a shift there with my nephew, and I don't know if that's just that his circumstances have changed so much that energetically he is in a different place. But it felt really good. It felt really good to be there, and I didn't feel like he was trying to lean on me as he sometimes has in the past. So, I mean, lean on me in a unhealthy way.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah, I guess I would just ask for any insights that you have around that situation. Then I have one more.
I would agree with you, and I think it kind of is as it seems right now, at least. There's stuff beneath the surface, but it's not affecting him right now. So yeah, whether it's, the things have changed and his circumstances, and there's also just been a shift in, I don't know if it's perspective or attitude or kind of both, and they're kind of two facets of the same thing. But it's good right now for him. It looks like things will come up for him, will bubble up again in at some point in not saying near future, but in the relatively near future. But it's nothing for you to be concerned about. If it's something that that you need to know about, you will. But yeah, I think it is as it seems. I'm going to leave it at that for the most part. There is some stuff underneath the surface, but it's nothing to really be concerned about right now.
But it just felt so good to be there. We had
Yeah.
a nice visit, and I would like to have stayed longer, but I really felt like a short trip made more sense. And so that's what it was. I think it left both of us feeling like we'll look forward to the next time we can get together. So that's a good thing. I love going when the weather's nice instead of, when it's cold, and it just worked. It was so much better a trip than either last winter when I tried to go and didn't get out, or the winter before when I did go. But it was the hecticness of Christmas and so many expectations and agendas, and it was overwhelming actually. So the other situation I wanted to see if you could share a little bit of information or insight on is things are going well at my work. In September, like a whole group of people just migrated out, and I wasn't expecting that. And I'd been thinking that I wanted to cut back my work, but not yet, because I wanted to maintain my salary. So I'm in this kind of ambivalent state of like, well, should I just keep my numbers low, but I need to build them back up because I'm not ready to take a salary cut. So I'm just sort of like, I think I'm more on the side of I, I more on the side of wanting to leave things as they are for right now, but looking toward creating more space in my schedule down the road.
Interestingly, as you were talking about it, I got from, I don't even know what you call it, probably the universe, more so than any of your guides or high self or anything. This is, although you didn't expect it, this is a period that gives you a chance, because it's a little bit less, to have some reflection, some time to, it gives you that space that you wouldn't otherwise have, and you may not meet some of your needs, to figure out what mix of things you do want going into the future, because there are some things coming in. There will be some, I guess, new clientele, it looks like, moving in, but at least, clients for you. And I think it's probably good that this time, it's like letting the tea steep. It gives you a chance to really think, okay, yeah, what do I want? And what do I want? What kind of mix? It's very subtle, but it's really important that you have this time. And that's what I'm getting from, I'm going to call it, say, the universe. And it won't, I'd say, moving into February, it's going to look like you're going to have people coming in, clientele coming back in again. So, and I'm not sure why they gave you this time. They're not saying, they're kind of tight. The universe is kind of tight-lipped about it, other than for reflection. But I feel like there's another element to it that I don't know. You probably would know if it were mentioned to you. You'd say, "Oh, yeah, that's exactly it. I'm going, so I get it." And you probably will figure that out soon. But right now, I don't know what that is. There's the element of just a time for reflection, give you a chance, just a space to do it, breathing room, but something else as well, and that's as equally important, if not more so, for you. And I think it has
Well,
some,
I
some
do
other
have a
element of
couple.
your life. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, a different element of my life.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's related, but it's another element. I'm going to call it that.
Hmm.
I don't have another
Okay.
word for it.
Well, I will enjoy this time of kind of letting the letting things percolate, letting the tea steep. That sounds good to me. I was going to say, I actually have several families in crisis, and so
Mhm.
when I left last week, I was leaving two families really with big stuff going on, and a third one with big stuff, but it hadn't just happened. It was kind of a long-term buildup. And so I really have three families that are have some real big stuff going on. One of them, it became clear today, at least clear to me. I think they knew, but we needed to talk about some stuff. It's clear to me now what's going to happen, and there's a pretty big yeah, a pretty big break in a relationship that
Yeah.
it feels like it may not get repaired. So that's hard. And then similar thing in another family where there's been a violation, and
Crisis.
it's not clear how that's going to be repaired either. So 2 weeks ago, those were more of like a crisis that was right in front of me. But now they've progressed enough that it is what it is, and there's still some elements that haven't come into focus yet in terms of how it's going to play out.
That's certainly it looks like for at least
And then there's one.
go ahead.
Oh,
I was going to say as it stands right now, especially in the second one,
no, go ahead.
the one in crisis. Yeah, what you referred to as in crisis. Yeah, that's certainly. That's why I don't know if you said it or I said it, but it's a crisis violation. Anyway, yeah. That doesn't.
Then
Go ahead.
there's a third family that the daughter reached out and asked if I could work with her, and I immediately said, well, let me get back to you. And I reached out to her mom and said, the 17-year-old has contacted me. Is it okay to work with her? And she said, sure. And then she said, why don't you give me a call so I can give you an update? She I took her keys to the truck away because she was drinking and driving. So, well, okay, I'll call the mom. Well, the mom didn't really want to share information with me. The mom wanted to um, read me the riot act and tell me how I had broken up her family. And I had done that by calling CPS 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And blah, 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 blah. So the mom just wanted to ream me. And I felt like based on prior experience with her, I didn't feel like there was going to be any way to talk it through. And so I was just respectful. And I said, well, it just doesn't sound like it's going to be a good idea. There are trust issues here. So it's not going to be a good idea for me to see your daughter. And, I had called CPS on her twice. There were bruises on the girl. It was pretty clear that the mom didn't know how to respond to the daughter and would hit her instead of any other alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right before I left to go on my trip, she reached out and said, my daughter insists that she won't see anybody else. She really wants to see you. She tried to jump out of my truck while I was driving down the highway. Can you
Mm-hmm.
please meet with her today? I think she needs to go to Pathways. I don't know what to do. I'm at the end of my rope kind of thing. And so I responded that I'm headed out of state, and here's some resources for you, and I hope you'll be able to reach out to this other person that might be able to help. And I outlined how she could get her into Pathways, like how to
Mm-hmm.
go through the ER and kind of set that up for success. But I guess I'm surprised that this situation came back to me, and on the one hand, I'd like to help the girl, but on the other hand, the mother is really mentally ill and doesn't recognize it. And um, I'm not going to work with the mom. There's no way I'm going to work with the mom. So I gave the young person the names of other people. I'd be willing to see the girl just as a stopgap measure, to try to get her into someone else. But I think it's a setup all around because the mom is so volatile.
I think you're prudent. I was going to say
Mhm.
when you were first talking about it, the mother, although at times will be supportive, she can be just as easily, that can switch very quickly and become a problem that will instigate it will cause you more problems and it won't do their daughter any good. She's better off, one, yes, going through the pathways for certain, that would be help, but there, she also needs, as you already know, other long-term counseling and care. She's got some deep
Mhm.
seated stuff going on.
You're seeing that with the daughter.
And it's, you know how it is with it's a path life thing that didn't get resolved. They bring it into this life to be addressed. And some,
Mhm.
one of the things I've seen as a pattern, and you probably have too, there's all kinds of mixes of things, but I'm just going to talk kind of real quick generally. Sometimes people move themselves into a new life where they've had a real traumatic life and they get to have where everything is just rosy and fine so that they can learn, hey, this is an opportunity. This is how things can be. For some people that works. For some people, it doesn't work. They find themselves rebelling, and this is where you see people who have wonderful parents who have children who just have nothing but problems. They go into a wonderful situation, but don't learn the things that they could learn from it. And so then what happens that in another time, because when we don't learn the easy way, we get to learn the harder way, and it gets increasingly harder. That's what's happening with her. She's had a pattern from before, and this is not atypical. And she's in this situation to help it it's not to be in her face. So she has to look at it. It's going to be the daughter. I'd say I'm talking about the daughter right now. I don't want to talk about the mom right now, but anyway, that's where she's at. But she's got some deeper seated things that relate to the current family situation, but they're also deeper seated in that they also are linked to past life events, similar events that are unresolved. And as a counselor, one of the things that you've got the real wonderful ability to do is with your intuition is to get to the key core stuff that's driving that, independent of events. You could, displaced, I'll make up something, displaced anger, resentment, whatever it is. When they learn to get to the core reason why they feel that way, then they can see why they act it out in certain ways in certain events, when they get to the core of it. And, but anyway, the daughter right now, I concur with you that it'd be problematic for you to work with the daughter as things stand.
Mhm.
Perhaps what I got from one of your guides is that perhaps, or maybe it's one of hers, that in the future, after she goes through pathways or some similar program and has some time with some counseling, she might be able to work with you in tandem, perhaps with someone else. I'm not sure, or perhaps solely, but will be an opportunity possibly in the future, but not right now.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you so much for that. I hadn't planned on bringing that up, but it kind of was on the edge, and so I'm really glad I asked about it because
yeah.
I care about her, and just know she's got to be in a tough situation. But my instincts are to, just set some very clear boundaries and encourage her to see someone else,
And
and
that,
just let her know. Yeah.
yeah, and that's really healthy for her because she truly does. I will tell you, there's I don't know what you want to call it, threads of her heart that are calling her, that connect with you. She recognizes some, characteristics that you have that she needs, but she's not in a place where she can make use of that yet. That's why maybe in the future, maybe not, but your approach right now, what I'm getting from everybody is you're prudent and just keep following your senses because they're very good.
Well, thank you so much.
No, you're
I'm
welcome.
feeling really good about all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm so glad you didn't because I'm glad you didn't. It wouldn't have turned. It would not have turned out so well had you done it. Taking her on right now. So Good. Does anyone else have anything to share? I don't want to be the sole person talking here. If anyone else has any thoughts. Okay.
I'd like to share something, Jeff.
All right. Marci.
That was really hard for me to listen to. There's an echo. I don't know if it's my phone or not.
It's probably satellite echo. Yep.
It was really hard to listen to. I almost hung up. And I can feel like all this energy moving in my body. I know that's what we're doing, is that we're healing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we don't even need to be there to be a part of it. I'm still like, my whole midsection is totally expanded out like a balloon. So anyway, that was really interesting. It was a really interesting experience because it obviously triggers something, but it also feels like it's healing something at the same time, like on some other scale.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because as you were talking, the divine showed me as well. Well, each of us talks, because it happens every time somebody talks. I haven't necessarily mentioned it. Is that each of us that's on the call here is a channel and bringing in as a vessel of light and energy and love for the person talking and for the situations that they're talking about. And to the extent that everyone that for example, with Franny, that daughter is ready for the energy will go to her. And it can help just by virtue of all of us being here. Each of us is a healing channel of light for each other. So things can happen because of that. And you're right. I want you to share with you, Marci, your observations very, very, very timely. I'm glad you mentioned it, because that is indeed what's happening. It's a time of healing. To the extent that we also have free will, to the extent that people at the non-conscious level, mainly because obviously the daughter has no idea, for example, use that was her, that we're even on this conversation, but the energy will go to her, and to the extent that she's ready for it, she can take it in, and it can help foster that healing process. Even if it's a little bit, it can help. Do you have more?
No, that's all.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. That is so wonderful, and I see that happen a lot of times when people are talking. Just a conversation. We're having a conversation. I don't know, about the weather, and in that process of just talking and connecting with someone, all kinds of stuff is exchanged, and things fall away. New connections are made. And although we talked about perhaps nothing of interest, wonderful things happen in that conversation. And I know that happens with each of us, especially with this group, because of what our spiritual focus. Just wonderful things can happen just in our just innocent interactions with others. So thank you for bringing that up again. I know I'm just a broken record on that, but it's so important and so powerful beyond our knowing. So. All right. Well, without further ado, Pat, do you have anything to share? Anything to ask? Anything at all?
Anything at all.
Mhm.
I have a dream that I had last week that I want to share and get your input. And then I have a dream that John had. We were both having like a lot of dreams, and I don't even usually remember mine. But anyway, I'm going to go right into it and not talk about a lot of other stuff. So
Okay.
the dream I had, first of all, before I go into the dream, in our bedroom, there's one window on my side of the bed that I like to get up in the night when we have full moons and the whole period where you have a lot of light and can see.
Mhm.
And so I try to keep the curtains part way open. And in the dream, for some odd reason, John had pulled those curtains together. And I was like, I got up and I was like, why does he have the curtains pulled? Because I want to look out. And I looked out, and here was this, I'm just going to use the word being because I don't know if it was human or not. And it had 2 layers of blankets on it. the bottom layer, for some odd reason, I could see, and I'm talking from the head, covering the whole from
Yeah.
head to foot.
Yeah.
The under blanket was kind of like, had some brown in it and some other colors. And the blanket on the top looks like that one I bring to meditation. Sometimes it's like a kid's Christmas blanket. It's blue. I mean, it's blue. And anyway, that was on top, one that was similar to that. And I'm looking at this, and it was, so basically the window face west. So I'm looking out at the northwest side of the garden, and it's fairly flat between the house and the garden and everything. And that's where it was standing, just a little to the right of the window, of maybe 5-6 feet. I'm looking at that and I'm going, what is that? And I said, John, you have to come look at this. And then it laid down. I didn't see feet. I didn't see anything besides this figure laying on the ground.
Mhm.
And he came and he looked, and I said, what are we going to do? What should we do? And he said, call 911. He said, I think we should call 911. So I'm really curious what you get on that, because, this seems very pertinent.
Wow.
Hmm.
One thing I did get, and I want to get some input from others here, because I think I've got a sense that other people here have some thoughts on this. Well, the moon is the feminine, and that's one of the things, because it's reflected light. And it has to do with that. But that's all I'm getting right now. Maybe it's not for me to get. Does anyone else have anything? Franny, Susan, Nicole, anything?
It didn't feel like anything dark or threatening.
No.
Maybe just a visitor just stopping by.
Otherworldly. Is that what you're thinking? Feeling?
Not sure.
Yeah.
I keep getting, and maybe I don't know why, because I'm just getting it has to do with the divine feminine, and it might have with John, that's a balancing thing that perhaps he needs more of. I don't know. Yeah, and it's it's really important to have that. I started going to Compass Chiropractic, and they do basically energy work. He's not doing very much. He not practically does no chiropractic work. I watch him do his work, which is fun to do. But this one of the times he was there, and I was noticing it. He was working on the base of the spine, and on either side of it there's these two little, I don't know what to call them. I call them chakras. They're really not chakras, but they're the male, where the kundalini comes up, where it starts, and from the base and then comes back up, and it's the male and female, the yin and the yang, however you want to think about it. And I watched him balance it, and I thought, well, that's interesting. They kind of get out of balance from time to time, and I thought, wow, that's good. And I'm not sure if they increased the male, increased the female, but balanced them back out again. I could really immediately feel the change. So that's my only input at this point. And Susan or Nicole, Franny, anybody, anything else coming in?
I have one more thought to offer.
Yes.
Pat, it might be good to kind of think about the medicine wheel and the directions, because you were very specific about the window facing west, and that this being was in the northwest. And initially he was standing and shrouded, but then he laid down. He laid down in the garden. He's comfortable in the garden. In the tradition that I follow now, the north is the place of dreams. And you said northwest.
Mm-hmm.
Northwest. Let me think about this. So west is the place of death. The setting sun, and then north is the place of dreams. So I don't know, I would just share that information that this being was in between those windows or portals, the setting sun, the endings, and then the place of dreams. And you said you've been having lots of dreams, so maybe there's a call for you to be writing down your dreams and doing more dream work. I can connect you with a lady that does a dream symposium once a month, and she believes that we're all being given messages that are for the collective. Maybe parts of it are for us personally, but it's amazing to listen to how she takes the different dreams and then feels like she can build it into a story that's relevant for what's happening in the world.
Oh, thank you, Franny. I really like what
Hmm.
you said. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm
Pat,
glad you mentioned the dreams too, because I've noticed I'm having a lot more. I have dreams anyway, but I think we're in a period where there's a lot of, for those who are awake, which everyone here is that they're going to have dreams again. I think it's not only for us, but again, I think it's also talks about what's happening to the, you can say, the soul group of the world. I agree that
Yeah.
it's very active right now with so many people. So I think I'm just kind of gathering that we're in a period of that the divine, the higher power, higher guidance is bringing things in for those who are ready to hear it, so that we can be aware of things. So, but that dream group does sound interesting. I think I would be one of those things that want to jump in at least once and just see what she has to say, hear her presentation. So
I think Marcy wanted to add something too.
please do.
oh, I was going to say, when you were talking, a blue orb appeared right here where I am. And I felt like it was a light being.
Huh.
Lots to digest there.
Yes.
Yeah. It would be taking a form you were comfortable with.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, this is pretty cool.
Hmm.
Is there anything else, Pat? For
Okay,
Marcy?
I'm gonna.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Continue on. Go ahead.
I'll go into the other dream. So I don't know if it was a night or 1 or 2 nights after that. Sometimes John gets agitated in his sleep, not so often anymore like he used to, but he'll slap at something or any sound asleep. So
Mhm.
he was slapping at something, and I said, "It's okay, John. It's okay. You can just go back to sleep." And then the next morning, he told me the dream, and in his dream, there were 3 babies, and they were playing in their poop.
Hmm.
And so he started spanking the one baby, which, like, that's just out of character for him.
Mhm.
That would have been Tuesday night, because then yesterday we went to the Flathead, and all of a sudden we were about halfway there, third halfway there, and I said, "Oh, I think I know what that dream's about." And then you guys can put your input. I said, "This is the world situation right now, and what we call the part of the collective that appears to be responsible and selfishly acting and causing all the grief and everything." I said, they were acting out, and they are acting out, and they're playing in their poop. And now you, as a spiritual being, and that means if he was doing it, there were others doing it,
Mhm.
like spanking them because it's going to be, we all know it's coming to a conclusion in the near future. So that's what I got, and I'd love to hear what everybody else gets.
Well, the
And you
one thing I
too.
want to add to that is anytime 3 shows up in a dream or even in a meditation, because it's the same thing. 3 is a complete period. Peter denied Christ 3 times. And
Oh, and they were all 3 boys, by the
yeah,
way.
but yeah, it's in 3, and it can talk about the 3 levels of, low, middle, high self, those kinds of things. And you're right, that is what that tells me is a complete period of time is it's done. It is, and whatever it is, and it's about time to move on. And that would correspond to what I'm seeing with the soul group energies. They're firming up, and it's getting to a point where it's going to they told me specifically it's not crystallizing what's happening in the world with the soul group, but it's getting close. And then when that's when things manifest. After it crystallizes, then it comes to fruition at some point thereafter. So I kind of just thought I'd share it. That's my piece of it. Anyone else have anything to share? I'd love to hear it. And just so you know, playing with their poop there, what happens when people, especially with the soul group, you see it happening. We've talked about it throughout many of the insights. Is that when they get disconnected, what'll happen is, because as the new connections are made, it takes a while to get used to using the higher connections, or even to be aware that they're there, especially for those who are less aware on their spiritual path. They tend to go into their more baser nature, their more primitive self. And for that reason, that's kind of like playing with their fecal material there.
Yes.
Yes. So
I had a feeling that this dream kind of fit in with some of what you were speaking about in the beginning. So
yeah. And 3 is a very significant, again, 3, 7, there's a number in dreams that are important, but 3 is a big one. And
awesome.
because after the third, denial, that's when all things, happen with Christ, and, just the 3 is significant. So is there anything else? I wish I could add more to it, but that's all I'm getting right now.
Well,
No,
that was a really interesting insight you had on that, Pat.
Oh, thank you. Well, it wasn't me, it wasn't it wasn't even my insight. It's just one of those where the whammy comes in and it said, this is what you need to say.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It wasn't that. And if anybody should get anything more on my dream that I had, I'm still really fascinated with that, and then everything that was put in tonight on it. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. And I know sometimes it does. I mean, for all of us, it comes in later all of a sudden, because it comes in, all of a sudden you have an insight a day or two later or whatever. So we'll see. I certainly hope if anyone else does, please let Pat know. I know you will.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Okay, now Susan, do you have anything to share? Anything to ask? Anything at all of any one of us? I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, it certainly feels like a pressure cooker right now.
It is.
It feels like it's just really steaming up.
It is.
And I don't have rampant wild dreams, but I'm sure having them now, most of them, they're just so off the wall. And I remember bits and pieces of them, but I don't usually dream like that. So I think it's part of all of that. That's what's going on right now. That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
Is it like a diorama?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was getting. Is it's like a diorama?
Yeah. So it doesn't. I'm just very thoughtful about it. I'm observing, because there's so much craziness, really. And last weekend I did a 2-day webinar, which was a marathon on healing pain energetically with Donna Eden. And it truly was a marathon, but oh man, I learned so much. My brain was just wired. It went from 10 in the morning till 7 at night for 2 days. And finally I shut down on the second day at 5:30. My brain just said, no more, stop. But I came away so inspired to start working more and more with that, because there were so many new things to learn. So I'm just, they had a client this morning. I thought, okay, what can I do that's new here? And I think it's going to make some real changes out there. I love that, the way of working like that.
Yeah, and it feels like it's kind of in an incubation period. I'm going to use that word again we talked about earlier, but I think that's what's coming in energetically. And then as long as it settles in and crystallizes with you, then events of life and just interactions with people, you'll start seeing where you can use it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, I've really had to firmly set boundaries for myself as far as other people's energy.
Mhm.
And really firmly do that. If I find something coming in, I put that bubble around me with the blue
Mhm.
around the outside, because I just don't want to take that on.
Yes.
Sometimes it slips through. My daughter is slipping through a whole lot right now
Mhm.
because she's in such severe pain waiting for surgery.
Yes.
And so I have to set up boundaries there too, because when she gets into such pain, she gets demanding. And when
Mhm.
I get really, really worried, I start to get angry.
Mm.
Yeah, I explained that to her today, so she'd really understand if I was coming across like that,
Mhm.
that it was my being worried about her and how long she has to wait.
Yes. And that's with what's happening with you right now. That is a good thing for you to do as things are moving up. We'll just leave it at that, per our conversation. And that's a good thing for you to do because, as the Buddhists teach us, we're not, even if they're with family members, it's not for us to, we have to have boundaries and we have to have healthy, we can love someone and whatever else, but there's certain things that we need to keep separate. And that's a good thing.
Mhm.
Other people will certainly invite us to take on um, their situation, just generally speaking. And it's not healthy for us to do it because these situations are there in their lives because they've created them for their learning. We can be facilitators to help them have insights and help foster and channel them to the directions they need to go. But ultimately, we don't want to take on their energy.
Well, and I feel like if I tell somebody what to do, then I'm really taking away their power,
Mhm.
and that's not my job to take
That's
away
right.
somebody's power.
Yep.
It's to support them on a journey, but not to just step right in and enfold them totally, which I used to do.
Well, and one of the things that, because really feel like what I'm being shown is that you can share your perspectives, but you also share, I'm going to call insights for them to consider. And that gives them options to say, oh, maybe I should try that.
Yeah.
My friend Kay, we've talked about her, and Pat knows, she was a master at that. In fact, she was so good at it that, by the time it was done, I was convinced it was my idea when in fact it was not. She got me to be aware of something in such a clever and skillful way that the next thing you know, yeah, I thought of that. And well, no,
Yeah.
no, we didn't. That was hers. But that's what I feel like one of the gifts that you have as well. You do that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything
Anyway, I'm
else?
just really, really glad to be with everybody on these Q&A times or sound therapy or whatever. I'm coming on November the 11th. I'll be there for Deborah's
Wonderful.
sound shower. I'm coming home.
Yes, and I get to be there this time, which is good.
Yay.
Last time I couldn't do it for various reasons, but this time I told Deborah, uh, I love to be at her sound showers because I'm just, wonderful things happen. And she says, "Oh, you're just saying that because of my husband." It's like, no, no, I'm saying that because they're really awesome. So,
I don't
anyway, well,
care if
thank
it's
you.
raining or snowing or whatever it is. I'm coming home.
That's right. Yes. Well, we're certainly looking forward to you being there. So I'll let
Yeah.
Deborah know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh,
Hey,
thank
Nicole,
you.
you switched to the other side of the screen. Hi, over there.
Yeah, I know. It keeps rearranging them, and I notice that sometimes I'm not sure what happens. Even when someone new doesn't come in, sometimes they just rearrange. Maybe it refreshes or something. I don't know. Okay, well, Brooke snuck in on us here. So, Brooke, do you have anything to share? Anything to ask or of anyone? Just love to hear from you.
If I could find that mute button and unmute myself. Well, it's good to be here. Sorry I'm a little late. I worked and got off late and thought, oh, there's a call tonight. So glad you were still going.
Yeah.
It's good to be with everybody. Good to see people. And I'll pick on Pat. Good to see Pat's blurry screen. Always nice to hear everybody, though. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, everything you've kind of talked about, I think, came to being in the last week or two,
Wow.
work-wise, professional-wise, with the whole disruption. And
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of voluntold that I have a new position, and now I oversee a department which I hadn't planned on. And I was told by the governor's office and the COO of the tribe that it's coming about because I'm here. It would not happen if I wasn't here in the position I was, knowing, I guess they felt that I could take it on and do it for them and with them.
That's absolutely true.
And I said, oh, okay.
Yep.
Of course, Teresa said, are you okay with that? You didn't sign up for that. I said, no, I didn't. But, I'm always put where I'm supposed to be. And apparently this is all part of it. So there's been disruption, and the whole schedule's been crazy, and life's been wild and crazy. And I've been up to Alaska twice in the last 30 days or so. And
Good.
And I'm going up again next week for the weekend for a tribal meeting. And
Mm-hmm.
it's been good to make that connection along with everything else going on down here.
Mm-hmm.
And even with this big change that they've implemented here, they know I'm involved up there, and they're allowing that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all a plus to have that support and being there. But that's what's been going on here on the professional side. From the energetic side, it's like I heard some of you say, it's a lot of things happening, and you've just been feeling it. And it feels like what happened to October. Everything is just moving so fast.
Yes.
But I don't have too much more other than things are good other than that. And I don't know if anything else is coming in, Jeff, that you might guide me into realizing what's happening and why it's happening. And maybe it's more my role that I already probably know about, but maybe you have some insight that you want to share.
I'm not sure who this is from. I'd like to think it's from just it's hard to even put a word to this. The higher tribal spirit of the higher tribal council, I guess you just call it, almost like the spirit coming in, just showing me that you're gonna, as you get further into this new position, you're gonna become aware of. You'll settle into it. You'll become increasingly aware of elements of it, and it's fine. It'll be the usual mix of things that you have. Some things that you like, don't care for, things that are positive, and some that are just you do. But whatever it is, it just seems like I feel a calm about it coming in. I feel it's just calm about you're having it, or at least at this point. But when you get further into it, there will come a point where all of a sudden you'll become aware of a whole bunch. It'll step up a little bit, or your awareness of some of the finer granularity of things will become aware. And when that comes, may feel like it's like this wave of, oh my goodness, what's happening? But don't be concerned about it. You'll, within time, in your usual way, you'll be able to integrate it into how you want to approach it, and you'll address it in the regular activities as well as the people that need to be addressed with. It's going to be a mix of things, but that's coming a ways down. But right now, what you said was absolutely true. I don't know who told you that, but they clearly recognized. I'm going to say it this way: they recognized the essence of you as a being, and not only your skill set, but just you in the mix of you being who you are and the way you do that. It's not just, it's hard to separate the skills for your skill sets, the many that you have, with who you are. So it's the essence of you that they sensed, and they said, you're the man for the job. And I think the governor's office, I think they were told about you. And then I think it was kind of one of those, talk about it, it's like, yeah, this is the answer, and bingo, you're there. So, and it feels just a real calm about it. That's all I can say. That's all I can add right now.
Yeah,
More to
I
follow, though.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jeff, and what's been coming into you, because even with all this change, it was calm.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I didn't expect this, but I'm back in where I used to be in a different role,
Mm-hmm.
but a different tribe, and was appreciative that the governor's level and the HR level and all that were so supportive and said what they did.
Yeah.
And nobody talked to me about it. They just did it. I came to work after being gone for a few days and said, by the way, the governor's office and so have decided to make a housing department and make you the director. And I said, well, wait, is anybody going to talk to me about it? And
No.
they kind of smiled, and then I said, well, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Well, the next day, because we got busy the rest of the day, I went into the council on some other stuff on budgets, and the council members were around the table, and they all said, congratulations, and I'll do great, and good luck, and all that supportive stuff. And I said, wait a minute, nobody's talked to me about this. And so they said, well, welcome to the Pueblo.
Yeah.
And
You're it. Yeah.
But then they also said, and you can't say no. It's happening because you're here. So I thought, well, that's I take that as good information. So
Actually, it's very wonderful information. It's I'd say, um, actually just compliment to be if you're being who you are, and I can tell you it wouldn't have. And by the way, but it was someone, or more than someone. There was a couple of people from the tribe that um, made the governor's office aware of it, and it was something that was needed. And you're the boy. But I'm going to say it in a positive way. The glass slipper fit your foot. So that's it. You're it. You're Cinderella. Okay. So, and it's a wonderful thing. It really is. Boy, it's bigger. It's bigger than you know. I want to tell you that much. It's bigger than that, and they're being quiet about it. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
okay, we'll leave it at that. And I appreciate knowing that it's bigger than even I know right now, because there's more to come, and I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, and it'll come. I'm just gonna. They want me to be quiet, so I'm going to be quiet now. I was going to say something, but then they told me not to say it, so I'm done.
Okay, well, thanks
Before
everybody. I love you, and I'm glad to be on the call.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Well, thank you for sharing that. Wow, my goodness.
Yeah,
Well, Brooke, I want to just say it's wonderful to hear about that. And as you're talking, I
Yeah,
just have this sense of expansiveness all around, like not just for you, but that
yeah. For the truth.
the presence of spirit is going to get to expand because of you being in this different role.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of with Jeff that it's bigger than you know, and just one of those, it's part of the great mystery, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, best of luck with all of it. It sounds wonderful. You know, it's a real spirit story.
I think so.
Thanks, Franny. Love you.
Yeah.
Mhm. Likewise.
Wow. And well, and this brings up a thing. I'm glad you talked about this, because what's happening now, and we're back to the soul group. There is so much happening out there, and I don't know if it's hitting a crescendo. I don't like to talk about that, because it could be a crescendo, then another one. But we're hitting a point. The three babies that Pat talked about in John's dream, and just everything we've talked about here, all the activity and the dream activity, things are happening right now, and what we all do and how we do it. What looks like it's only in our lives, but it's not. It's going out. It's affecting the whole soul group, and one positive. What I was watching the show. I'm not sure if it was one of the What the Bleep people from way years ago, that DVD,
Yeah.
and he said that the white light's 100 times, 1,000 times more powerful than the darkness. And that's so true. So what we do, spreads out into the soul group and, multiplies 10, 100, 1,000 times in ways we don't even know. So what each of us has done, Brooke, and, the decision that Franny made and the dream that Pat talked about and all that's happening with Susan, the diorama is significant, by the way, for you. I'll talk about it in just a second. And Tonya and Nicole and Marci, all these things, as we know, feed into the collective. And because we are spirit focused, it's only can be for the good. So
I do have one follow-up question. Maybe
yeah.
you can answer. Maybe something will come in.
Mm-hmm.
There was one person in particular who was greatly impacted with this change, and at this point, anyway, they decided to walk away,
Mm-hmm.
and it leaves an emptiness in the office, and I feel it, and I think everybody else is doing the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering whether or not I should reach out and talk to this person, and maybe even talk to them and see if they really want to do this, or are they willing to come back.
Do it softly, and you
Yeah.
do anyway, but even more softly than you would normally do it.
Right.
And you'll know what that means, because there's some hurt there, and
Yeah.
that really poignant hurt.
Yes.
And more than the person wants to admit to themselves. So if you do
Yes.
it in such a gentle way, the person may still go, but it will be a blessing if you do that for you and
Yeah.
for that individual.
And I appreciate that, because I told the supervisor person that they may come back knowing they won't be working for that supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
but rather under me and with me.
Mm-hmm.
And the opportunity to do so would be different.
Yeah, and it may take some time for that to soak in, for this to pass, and
Right.
and you're right, it may, but they may still. I want to be on the positive and just say, right snapshot in time right now. That is, if you do this in time, it could be a 51-49 that they come back, and
Right.
perhaps. Well, I'm honestly, I think they need some space. So
Right. We'll give them a little space, but I've been feeling like,
yeah,
maybe I need to reach out a little bit.
yes,
So
very wise of you. Yes, yeah.
I think
Okay.
reaching out might help them tell a different story to themselves
Yes.
about what happened or why it happened. And that can be really important. It's like your care could help them see it differently, in a way that doesn't allows them to not feel as hurt or as jilted or as upset by the changes. So to me, it seems like whether they come back or not, your reaching out would be pretty important. It will allow for a different ending, I think, if you reach out to them than if you
Okay.
don't.
Thank you, Franny.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah. It's just,
Thanks.
yeah. Yes. Anyway, thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Wow. Wow. I want to go around to everyone here in just a moment, but I want to talk about, this is from your high self for you. And sometimes in dreams, I have a dream dictionary I read years and years ago. I've got a number of them. We all probably do. And it talks about diorama in specific. And sometimes it can be just a bunch of, if it's a personal level, it's just stuff sometimes it's just a whole bunch of stuff being released and that kind of thing. This is not the case for you. This diorama has to do with not only some of your own life, but just what's going on in the world. And it's a reminder that although it looks like it's all just different stuff, a mix of things, it's a reminder that all is one. And that is what came through when you talked about it. That was the immediate message I got when you talked about that. And I saw it. I saw a little snippet of your dream. So for some reason, that's something that the universe and the divine wanted you to, I don't know, to be aware of, just as a reminder. I'm not sure what it is, but anyway. Well, I'd like to go around. Oh, you're going to go? Nicole, go ahead. If you're going to go, oh, all right. let's just go ahead and just because I don't know how long we've been going. Oh my goodness, we've been going for a little while. Not that we have a time limit, but let's go around and just anyone have anything to share, and I'll start with Marci. Do you have anything before we close out? Anything to share? Anything to add? Anything at all?
Well, when you're talking about the dreams and the diorama, I'm not experiencing that right now. I think I'm experiencing different timelines, the dreams, right? Because it'll be people I know at different ages and things like that. And so that was a question I had about timelines. Like, sometimes it's almost like we're in a different one and something's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering about holding on to information and if that's what holds us into the timelines. Like if we don't replay some of this stuff, how big of an effect it has on the timelines.
It can, and sometimes holding on to information or holding on to just connections that are associated with the timeline, especially if it's time for us to let go of it. And we can connect with other timelines. And I had Greg, who's not here tonight, had that happen where he had this event, another timeline that he experienced as if it were a memory. And when I was shown it, it's like, oh, he was connecting with one of his alternate paths where he did these other things, and he experienced it. But it was one of those things that he was just to be aware of. And the same thing is true of timelines. You can. If it's one of those things that we're to let go of and no longer be connected with, we can. And I think you are going through some of that. In fact, I know you are. It's that the fact that you're aware of it is good, because that just being aware that we need to either hold on to something or let go of something or process something more than we have actually initiates that very thing to start happening. And that's in part, there's more than that going on, but that's in part what's happening with you.
Okay.
Amongst
yeah,
other,
it's just like
other things. Yeah.
constant unraveling.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any significance to halls of Amenti?
Who? Can you repeat?
The halls of Amenti?
Yes, but I don't know what it is. But there is for you, yes. I'm getting a distinct yes. And you're actually connecting with it, or what? Yes, you're connecting with it, and it's coming into more non-consciously than consciously, but you are. And it's something.
Okay.
I don't know any more than that.
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to
Okay,
leave,
thank you.
so I have to say goodbye to everybody.
All right.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Love you all.
Bye.
We love you,
Glad to
Susan.
again.
Love
Right.
you,
See you, Susan.
Susan.
Love you too.
Bye.
Blessings.
See you next
You
week.
too.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, she's gone. Oh my. Well, thank you, Marci. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and this is kind of you. This is how one of the ways you do things, and you're going to do even more threads of that kind of stuff as time. You got that more coming up, more threads of whether you want to call it timelines, paths, people, just streams of energetic connections you have in your life that you're going to be going. I don't know if we're going to call it reviewing, evaluating, letting go, connecting with, processing more, but you're going to be doing that streamlining process, and it's happening organically with you. It's happening probably much of it from your high self in your life path plan.
Okay.
Because of what you're doing right now.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Nicole, do you have anything? I can't hear you. Your phone is muted. I can. You're still muted. There. Maybe she's going to plan B here. There we go.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry about that.
All right.
My daughter called while we were on the meeting, and if everybody could bring her into their circle and light. A good friend of hers passed away just a couple hours ago, and she's having a pretty difficult time. So
Yes. We'll put her in the light.
that's the second friend I've lost this week, so it has been kind of a rough week.
Yes. And you're right. She really does need the light right now. So we'll sing her there. I know we all are. And you too.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
All right, yeah, I have to get going too, so I'm gonna say goodnight. And it was so nice getting to see people again.
Yes,
And I miss everybody.
good to see you.
Yay,
Please
Nicole.
come again next month.
Love you, Nicole.
Oh, I love you too. I miss you guys.
We miss you.
Love and blessings. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, Tonya, do you have anything to share, anything to ask, anything at all before we close?
I do just have one question, Jeff.
Mhm.
The person who I described as my soulmate, is there anything I should know about the relationship that you're getting?
Yes, but you're going to learn it. And that's how it's supposed to happen.
Okay.
That is how it is supposed to be.
Well,
And
fair enough.
it's a good thing. I mean, it's really a good thing because well, I can tell you this, it's accepting the whole person.
Okay.
Yeah. And now they're telling me to be quiet. So that's it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I'm working on my subtlety, but I haven't quite gotten it yet. Yeah, so I'm working on that. But thank you for asking. So,
Yeah.
all
Thank you.
right. Brooke, I'll go to you next. Anything to ask, to add, share anything before we close out?
I don't know if I do right off, but I'm thankful that I was able to get on at the last minute, and thanks for some of the insight. And it's good to be with everybody. And I had to smile when Tonya asked about the soulmate question, but and the biggest thing is, on a personal level, it's wonderful to have that soulmate, but sometimes we're not with them that long. So
Yeah. Yes.
it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yes. And just really cherish the blessing while you have it.
That's right.
Yeah, with no matter how long the relationship lasts, just cherish every moment. Yeah.
That's right. Appreciate that.
Thank you for sharing that, Brooke. Oh my goodness. Okay, Franny, do you have any last things to share? Ask anything at all for anyone?
Just want to say thank you. It's wonderful to be here, and
Yeah.
wanted to say, Marci, I'm excited for you going to Maui next week or this weekend. I hope that goes really, really well for you, and I'll be curious to hear what you have to say about the energetics of the island. Um, you're so sensitive to all of those energies, and I know you'll be holding the space for healing while you're there. So I'm pretty excited that you get to go. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's wonderful. And yeah, I'm with you. I want to hear more next month. All
So
right.
just thank you to everybody. Great to be here.
Well, thank you. All right. Last but hardly least, Pat, do you have anything to share, to ask, anything for anyone here before we close out?
I just want to thank everybody and for being here and for taking time out and for their insights and their sharings. And Jeff, really a lot to you for always hosting this, and like what you saw tonight, for everybody, for each one of us, and at the beginning what you shared. So I hope everybody has a great tomorrow and rest of the weekend. And I love you all.
I love you
Love
too.
you, Pat.
Love it. There's a whole group here. Thank you so much. Yeah, and just so you know, the divine in the universe I sometimes think, well, I won't share that, the information. They say, no, they want the universe and the divine want that information shared about what's happening, because each person will be able to process it in their own way and have their own insight. So I'm glad to be a vessel to share little snippets of it. Well, thank you so much for everyone for coming. What a blessing you are to me in my life. Just again, and just every day, but especially when we get together like this. I love to hear what's going on and what everyone has to share. So
Oh, and
you so
we're
much.
spiritual alchemists, by the way. Matt Kahn says we're all spiritual alchemists.
Yes, I recognize that. It's funny. And a spiritual alchemist, and I don't know, for some people, and I have a post on it. I learned a number of years ago, that a few of us, as we move on, become spiritual catalysts too, which ties into being an alchemist. So I thought I'd share that. All right. Well, that's it. Blessings, light, and love. And until next time, just have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Okay. I love you.